Band 7. In this video, I'll interview a girl who passed IELTS with Band 7 in speaking. Let's go. Hi, this is Robert and I'm a Cambridge certified English teacher and I prepare students for IELTS and other Cambridge exams, and I'm here to help you do your best in the speaking exam. Watch this video to see your student answer some question and see a breakdown of her answers and how I suggested some improvements. By watching this video, you will learn how to perform better. Hi there, Nicole. Can you tell me your name and where you're from?
Sure. Hi, I'm Nicole, and I'm from Rome, Italy.
So this is the first question. Normally the examiner is going to ask you your name or where you're from, the very first question. So don't worry about giving too complicated an answer, and Nicole does a very good job in giving a short answer. That's the best you can do. There are lots of other questions coming your way further on, so there's no need to burn your fuel in the very first question. Relax, take your time, and try to gauge the situation you're in. There is no point in rushing it. And what do you do, Nicole?
So right now I'm actually applying for a job, to become a flight attendant, and I'm studying also languages.
In the second question, the examiner will ask you about your profession, and the question is, what do you do? So it's your chance to talk about, what you do if you have a job, or if you're working part-time, or if you're studying, or if you're doing research, whatever you're doing. It's time to talk about yourself. You can say, I'm an undergraduate student, I'm applying for a visa to travel to the US, I'm hoping to get into college, I'm hoping to get into a university somewhere. So you need to talk about where you are at this particular stage of your life. As a matter of fact, Nicole does a pretty good job in describing what she's doing, what she's up to during this period. So that's why she gets almost a 7. Okay, great. And what skills do you need in order to become a flight attendant?
Well, I know that there's different skills, like, you have to be polite, of course, with people, but in the same time, you have to focus on problems and try to find solutions.
Right.
You have to love traveling, and also be along is important. So be good with yourself.
In the IELTS speaking exam, you'll often get a question where you'll be asked to talk about a few things altogether, like a list, like what skills are involved or what kind of things are important in your line of work. So it's good practice to have a clear mind of what you're going to say. So if we look at Nicole's answer, she loses her structure a little bit, which will cost her marks in the exam, and which is confusing sometimes for the listener. So if you look at the recommended answer, you will notice that it has a different structure. I have used a few keywords which can help you structure your answer and get higher marks and apply more clarity to what you're saying. So you can say things like first and foremost, or firstly, and then you can say secondly, or furthermore, and then what's more, or lastly. So if you have a few things to talk about, then it gives you time as well. If you say first and foremost, and then you say something, and then while you're saying it, you can also think about what you're going to be saying next. It gives you time, it gives you structure, and the listener will not find you hard to understand. Especially in the exam, you will raise your score noticeably. And what do you particularly like about being a flight attendant? I mean, why did you choose this profession in the first place?
Oh, can I say everything? Like, I love traveling at first. So just the idea of being upstairs in the sky, surrounded by people, and I don't know, just move around. I found it so like amazing, really amazing.
So it is vitally important that you have some reasons that you can talk about in the exam for choosing your profession or your studies, because more than likely the examiner is going to ask you why you chose to study a certain subject at college, or why you want to become an engineer or a scientist or a bartender, whatever job you want to do. They're all respectable jobs, by the way. You have to have a good reason that you can talk about. So once you've figured out why you decided to study a subject, or why you've decided to do a certain job, you need to structure your answer properly. You need to say why. For example, Nicole struggles a little bit here. She makes a few mistakes, and it is very easy to get this wrong in the exam if you're not thinking about it, because you get carried away with your emotions. You're scared, or you're worried about getting bad marks, or you're just simply stressed out. So you need to be able to say what and why. What is the job and why is the reason? And then you need to be able to say this in a proper, correct English grammar. As you can see in the recommended answer, I haven't really used any complex structures or any complex items of language. It's all very easy, but it's structured properly. I've used some clever tenses. The idea is to say something convincing. And by that I mean you need to be able to say something that people believe. This is an efficient way of answering the question without getting into complicated grammar. So what kind of studies you need to do to become flight attendant, or is there something you need to, like any courses you need to take part in?
Yeah, exactly. As you said, there's a course where they teach you like everything, all the basics, especially for security. So everybody hopes that you don't have to use it, but it's important to know it. So like how help people in difficult situations, and
I see.
of course, English is important.
So fundamentally, the question is about the kind of training which is required to carry out your profession. So this is another question you should be ready for. If you are applying to be a flight attendant like Nicole, you need to know what kind of courses you need to do. So Nicole's answer is pretty much a strong answer, but her grammar lets her down a little bit. So if you look at the recommended answer, it talks about kind of training needed with proper vocabulary and grammar. I use the word intensive training, that you're put through dealing with potential dangers, and also English being extremely important. So it's essentially what Nicole has said, but in a more correct way. So this gets higher marks because of structure, again, grammar and vocabulary. It's important that if you have to be ready to talk about your job and the kind of training which your job will require. It's a possible question they might ask you, so you need to be ready for it. How much time do you spend on different social media websites?
Well, usually during the day, I'm a bit busy, so around 2, 3 hours, maybe a bit less before dinner. But especially in this period that we're under lockdown, I would say a bit more. Yeah, during the day.
This is a straightforward question. How much time do you spend? I mean, really, if you're hoping to get high marks in the IELTS exam, or any other exam for that matter, you should be able to answer that question fairly easily, fairly correctly. So if you have a look at Nicole's answer, it's pretty good, but again, the structure, I mean, she uses a lot of clauses which are incomplete. And if you look at the recommended answer, on the other hand, it connects back to the question. It connects right back to the question. That's important. And then the answer is similar to what Nicole was saying in terms of content, but there are some natural uses like I'd say, I suppose, which gives it a bit more quality. You could say that. So really, this question should not worry you at all.
Is there anything you don't like about, being on social media?
Well, of course, there's also a negative aspect. Like, there's some people who doesn't really, they just spread hate because they don't like what you share, or, there's people everywhere like this, and sometimes can be a bit annoying and, not really good.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So this is the last question in the interview with Nicole, and the question is about the negative aspects of the social media. Don't we know all? Lots of people have different opinions about social media due to different reasons, and Nicole's answer is pretty solid. Once again, she talks about people spreading hate and not caring. It's a good answer. Just the grammar again lets her down a little bit, and if you look at the recommended answer, you can see how easily we can bump it up to 8. There is the expressions like I can't stand, bring you down, spew hate. These are all good vocabulary items, and together with a good content and structure, you would definitely get higher marks. So my suggestion is, for anybody who's preparing IELTS exam, get a pen and a paper. Write down all the ideas about why you are on social media, what advantages you have, what are the good sides, what are the downsides, and what are your experiences. Talk about perhaps things that have happened to you, which are always important to bring in the exam as experience. And just talk about it with a friend and see if you can structure your ideas. You can string your sentences together in a very cohesive manner, which will help your fluency as well as your pronunciation. It push you to use better language and grammar. This is it for now, and if you have enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and share the video with other students or other people who might be doing IELTS exam if you think it might be useful to them as well. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I will try my best to get back to you. Goodbye for now, good luck and peace.